So I'm just completely astounded. So in my probing, I didn't really find anything. I did figure out that this board actually contained the power button, and I mean the button seemed to work fine, and the signal was going to the board through this connector. 12 volts through the power supply. Everything seemed fine from what I could tell. I mean, hang on. Darn Cameo wanting to put their water label on, their watermark on. Be gone. Anyway, I was just probing around. I just couldn't find anything. 12 volts coming in through the power supply. The button press was registering. Nothing in my limited knowledge of this type of electrical engineering stuff was saying, aha, there's a problem. There's no like apparent water damage, no corrosion, none of these electrolytic capacitors are blown. Just nothing's like crazy. So I'm like, oh great, is this a dead APU? Is the Southbridge chip fried? Like what's going on? So I did some research and fault finding using the I2C. Now, I've done this on the PS4, reading the URL logs, but it was a rather cumbersome process. I had to remove the NOR chip, I had to reprogram it with a special reprogrammer. Then I had to, it was a lot of solder work, specialty tools, things I had to purchase. This one, you just need a Raspberry Pi and some wire. Like, the simplicity of this, like there's even giant exposed pads that you just solder to. I'm completely astounded. And then for reading the logs, you grab a piece of specialty software, tell the COM port where the Raspberry Pi Pico is, boom, you get an output. Caveat being, you have to turn the console on. Well, that's kind of a problem in my case because my console's dead. I mean, I did this just on a whim because the worst thing that can happen is nothing. But there wasn't nothing. There was something. Error 3003 SMC Fatal PWR GPA. Now, the power group A timeout not reporting power group or power ground. Check for short on these various acronyms. And it's like a lot of these, this doesn't actually mean anything to me. So I checked their postcodes. So the fatal error, or that fatal power group A error for the Xbox Series S, low priority, general power group A failure. Check resistor 132, 12 volt, 7 volt, and resistor 676 for voltages. It is telling me exactly what to do. Make a jumper wire. If the 0.7 volt is missing, replace these components. If the 7 volt's okay, check for shorts. Like, it is pointing me exactly where to look. Another problem? The board isn't labeled. So I have no idea where any of these are. Well, schematics exist, apparently. So the resistors that they wanted me to look for are right here. Oh. It didn't like me zooming in. Uh-oh, I lost it. Let me find it again. I was gonna say I might have to do this the old-fashioned way. I remember the header. Don't remember how far down it was. Aw, man, zoom option, you ruined my groove. I probably had to zoom in sort of the more old-fashioned way. Not using control scroll wheel. HDMI video out. USB, common Wi-Fi. Here it is. So they're right up here. I'll see if I can zoom in on it. This is page 51 for posterity. just in case I miss it again. There, that's better. Right here. These are all three of the components that they're pointing me towards. And the amazing thing about this is they're telling me the values of these components. So what I needed to look for was this component, MP2926. That was, and on pin 13, here are the components I'm looking for. And after a bit of looking around, I found it. Let me get my microscope plugged back in. And I'm kind of giving away the surprise if I'm just pointing my microscope at it. MP2926. It's a little dirty for some reason, which, I mean, that might suggest maybe water damage. I'm not going to make that claim quite yet. But I will try and clean it up a little better. Just need to double check something. I just need to remember which one. Is it clockwise or counterclockwise do I go? So if I count counterclockwise, I need to go to pin 13. I think there's eight pins per side. Let me confirm that. Well, 8, 12, 16, is there 24 pins? No. 33, 41. I wonder if this is the right one. No, it actually might not be the right one. I'm looking at the other codes. It might be the same chip type, but as far as identification is concerned, that MP number on top is different. So it's MP2112. But it is a 2926 chip. MPS. No, it's 8, 16, 24. Oh, because I can't count. That might be why. 8, 16, 24, 32. But apparently there's a pin 41? There's no pin 1 on this IC. Oh, this must be... But, so this might be a different one. I think it's a pair. $32 would be 64. So I need to find where it is. Like, there's another big chip down here. Can't read the contents on. This looks like a similar chip. On the schematic, they say one of two. Maybe what I need to look for is a capacitor and then a resistor. I saw it there for a second. Like magic ink. It's 2855. 2926 was up there, so let me keep looking. But I'm guessing it's gonna be a chip like this. If this is not the chip and this pin counting is wrong. Let me see if I can find part 2 of 2926 real quick. No, I can't. One of two. I don't know what that means. So now let me kind of go on the grand hunt for that another chip that looks kind of similar. There's one right here downstream of the Ethernet port. Which I don't think it is, because I think I remember checking this one. Realec. Yeah, that's not it. There's one right here. Not it. Here. Doesn't look like it's it. Too wordy. So that's the only chip that I can locate with the right numbers. I don't know why the pin count is so completely wild on the schematic. So let's just count the pin 13 then, and just kind of go from there. If it's red counterclockwise, which doesn't seem right. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Goes into a via? Oh, bother. Trying to find where that via farts out at. Okay, so I'm gonna keep looking into this. This might be a bit of a back and forth endeavor, trying to figure out where it is. But this is incredibly promising. Much more so than kind of ever. I've been spending several hours on this. This is just sort of the state I left it in last night. And the current progress is... still nothing. Now, I'll show you kind of what I did, but what's weird is sometimes if I plug in this front connector just the right way, and it probably won't do it now, but... or maybe even sometimes if I just like... okay, it won't do it. If I get this connector in the right way, this front end panel connector, I'll get the fan to spin like once, like it will sort of fire a motored pulse. It'll spin and then it'll slow down and stop. So I suppose that's progress. Also, if I press the power button, I almost hear what sounds like a coil whine. Very faint. Something in this area is making like a coil whine. It would be nothing I'd be able to pick up on a microphone. But it's the most strange sound. I don't want to do it too much, because, I mean, I've already done it several times, and at this point, if I did any damage, the damage is done. So I learned several things last night. First being, I'm stupid, and I can't count, apparently, that MP2926 chip is actually a 40-pin chip, which would explain the schematics. Get all these off. And with that in mind, I'm able to actually determine where the circuit is that I need the probe based on the error code. So let's just get this all out of the way. I don't have the X clamp on, I'm just raw dog that on. So let me swap over real quick. So I ended up finding the MP2926 chip, which is a triple loop digital multi-phase controller with PM bus interface, which means absolutely nothing to me. But in this description, it provides power to the memory and SoC. All right, yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, press the power button and nothing happens. So I'm just looking at this chip, and it is very clearly, this is the same chip. All of these sort of numbers, or these labels look familiar. And pin 13 vSense, and that corresponds with the pin right here on the third pin over from the dot. So it is 10 on each side, with the 41 being probably a center ground pad. And that matches up right here, vSense pin 13. So then the circuit that I'm looking for, all right, I can't do my zoom shortcut, I gotta do this the old-fashioned way. The circuit I'm looking for is right here, since this contains resistor 132, resistor 676, and capacitor 1441. Which this right here is a 12-volt line. So I did some probing, I did some looking around in the area off of pin 13, and I found a couple things, some very promising things. Now let me get my microscope set up here. Oh, it already is plugged in. Okay. I had to do some kind of hacky things, which I do intend on hopefully fixing. Microscope, respond. There we go. Sorry, responding to a text. So going to the chip here, you'll see there's like a weird blob of solder right there. Now, that is not just a blob of solder. That is two resistors I have sort of tented up and connected on the top. So what I noticed immediately is I found, well, off of pin 13, the resistor that was sitting right here, the end cap was eroded away. And well, that's not good. I couldn't get a connection on it. I mean, I even took the resistor off, and I did my damnedest to try and find the resistance value of this little guy, but that end cap is just completely gone. Like, there's no way to connect to it. Oh, that's not even it. That right there, this little fella. And it looks shiny on both sides, but I think the resistor must connect at the top of the ceramic resistor, and the bottom, if the line is severed, there's no connection to the actual resistor. That's just almost glorified mounting. So I wasn't able to get a resistance value off it. So I took a look at the schematics, and I'm thinking like, well, okay, this just shows that I don't really know how to read schematics. So this line comes off pin 13, it bridges, or it goes into a via, and then it bridges into this resistor and then this capacitor sitting right next to it. So I'm looking at the schematic, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is resistor 676 and capacitor 1441. I replaced it with a 10 kilo ohm resistor, and nothing changed. Okay, I'm mildly confused. So, speaking over with AI, trying to sort of problem solve it, there's this point right here. The end of C1441 and resistor 676 are supposed to connect to ground on the other side. The problem is this resistor I replaced did not connect to ground. When I plugged it into power, it actually connected to, or it was actually having a 12-volt line fed to it. AI asked me to say, like, hey, run the end of resistor 676 to one of the intake capacitors for the power line to see if there's continuity. There wasn't. What I was actually replacing was resistor 132, because this is fed the 12-volt line, V12. So this little tent assembly that I have right here is a combination of a 50k ohm resistor and a 100k ohm resistor to try and make 150. I don't know how well that works. I mean, my connection seems solid based on what I can tell via my probing and my microscope. The resistance values between the pin and this little exposed trace over here isn't really yielding much usable information. I mean, I can try again, but all I was getting was it was just a resistance value that just kind of climbs almost indefinitely, and I just don't like sitting here waiting for a resistance value to just climb to infinity or whatever. We have the point right here. The third pin over. Like, it doesn't give me like a haha clear. Like, it'll just slowly climb, and I'm like, I don't have time for this. If it's charging a capacitor or something. So, another thing I figured out is this board was very clearly, it had to have been water damaged. Not only because that resistor cap was just gone. I mean, you can kind of see some of the pins up here are blackened. And I even noticed just kind of looking around the board here, there's like crud underneath this chip. Like, just like shit. And like over here next to this capacitor, there's just like this shit. So there's no like rampant corrosion. It may have just been enough to kill the resistors up here, or kill some of the components, maybe even like harmed some of these pin connections. It could just be this resistor right here is the only problem, and me replacing it with a not really good one is the problem. But yeah, there's just like a lot of like debris, caked on debris. So I'm going to keep looking into this. I'm going to see if I have a spare board that has a 150k ohm resistor. Because I don't know if my little assembly just isn't sufficient, or maybe it is sufficient and there's just another problem. Either way, it looks kind of gross. I want a cleaner one component replacement. So I'll keep poking and prodding on it and kind of see where I go. Because, I mean, thankfully I'm not recording all this, because this would probably be like hour 6 at this point working on this thing. But just a quick update to just kind of see where I'm at. And I mean, it's entirely possible, I suppose it's possible this chip has failed, but I don't have sufficient evidence to suggest that. Especially based on the error code. The error code is really much pointing me towards the resistors and the capacitors. So we'll see. And I'll just have to continue sort of decoding what this error code actually means. So I just got done doing the 2 major volt tests that the error code recommended. So this would be checking the voltage on R132 and R676. What I have on my microscope is 676. What it was expecting was 0.7 volts on the VS side. Let me grab my poker so I can point. 0.7 volts on this side of the resistor, ground on this side. And both of these were as expected. On the other side of the board, I did rebuild that resistor. I wasn't super confident with the little thing I created before, so I got 2 new resistors and made it into an arrangement I'm very confident is not bridging anywhere abnormally, not doing anything. It's doing exactly what I wanted it to do. So, I mean, this is a 2D image. It doesn't really represent what I'm seeing, or what I actually did, so let me tilt it. I tombstoned a 100k and a 50k resistor, soldered them to the board, and then soldered a wire across them. In series, those create 150k ohm resistance. It works. It doesn't interfere with any parts. The cooler sits above everything, like a solid few millimeters off the board, so that shouldn't be knocked off, but it is very delicate. And what the error code wanted me to check was, do I get 12 volt on this side, because this is the 12 volt line right here, this via, and it traces off to here, and do I get 0.7 volts on this side, which I do. So everything is checked. The first sort of major round of testing checked out. I can bring that on screen here really quick. So it's right here, low priority, power group A failure, check 132 for 12 volts and 0.7 volts, and R676 for 0.7 and ground. voltages. If the 12 volt is missing, make a jumper wire. If the 7 is missing, replace. If the 7 is okay, missing, check for short on VMemIO, related to U480 and U32. Do I know what that is? Absolutely not. So I need to see where memIO is. GPIO. Let me see if there is any relation to their memIO. Maybe it's the IMOM. memIO. Or is it VMemIO? Is that what I'm looking for? vSense. VDD33. Might be a 3.3 volt line. VMemIO. I wonder if it might be part of these like descriptors here. Because here's the memIO physical SoC. I think that's what that stands for. VREG memIO physical SoC. VREG memIO. So I think it's the VDD. Well, this is the 0.33 or 3.3 volt and a 1.8 volt. So what is it asking me to do here? Check for shorts on VMemIO related to U480 and U32. So I'm gonna actually just duplicate this so I don't lose my page there. Thank you, Mike Wazowski, for sharing this schematic. So now I need to look for component. It might even go in like order. Like there's U1. I think that might be the main SoC because there's a shitload of pins. Holy. So what am I looking for? I'm going to look for 32 first. Oh no, it jumps up to U1000. Gee whiz. There's U48. U48 still. Jesus, that's a big chip. I wonder if that's the South Bridge. Yeah, it is the South Bridge. Okay, that makes sense. Massive BGA chip. U17, U2, U47, 48, U715. Oh, Jesus. I keep forgetting these. 480 and 32. 480. Let me duplicate, and then I'm going to look for 32. What page was that on? Wait, 51? Oh, gee whiz, this is 480. So it's looking for a short between 480 and U32. So I need to find U32 and see where it connects, how it connects to 480. Jesus. Oh, it's the South Bridge again. U2. I really wish I could search by text. That'd make things so much easier. But this isn't exactly... I don't think this is like an editable PDF. Here's 480 again. Oh, it's the same 480. U32. I do... I'm being a little crazy right here. I feel like I saw... When I went across U480 the first time, was that the same first time? Because if I'm understanding sort of the labeling conventions of this, there's two parts to U480. I was kind of curious to know what the other part was. But it looks like it's just going to be the same, this one. So 36. So this goes out to vreg memio cs so I need to find... So these are in connectors. I don't know if they're in or out, is kind of the problem here. Let me like split this up into two tabs. My full screen microscope. This will be a little janky, but... So what I'm looking for is where these two components connect. U32. Which I'm guessing is going to be these lines. There's vmemio, but I'm thinking it's these. So either it's in vreg-men-temp, which I don't know if this is the same line. It would be pin 10. And vreg-mem-io cs, which is pin 40. I don't think it tells me like what I need to check. It is telling me vmem-io, which is right here. But it's not telling me how, because there is no vmem-io that I can see. At least nothing this blatant, unless I'm completely passing over it. But I'd like to think I have kind of sharp enough eyes, I can kind of see. Like there's VMMIO right here. I think these might be voltages. It's not entirely clear to me. What I should start by doing is looking for U32, the M86910B. I think if there is water damage around, if there's water damage around it, and maybe that solder joint is corroded around that chip, that could be my problem. Is that, well, it's not making connection because it's not making connection. Let me get this power supply off. I'm going to make the somewhat bold assumption it's down here. That it's this guy right down here. Bah. I'm probably going to have to put some... I need to get my full screen microscope on. I probably need to put some rubbing alcohol on it to make those letterings appear. I know if I swipe it, some lettering will appear. Let me see if I can see it by eye. I can kind of make out print if I hold it in the right light. This is MPS 2119. I really need to bring up that chip on another monitor. I need 86910B. I really wouldn't imagine it being very far away. How many pins am I expecting on it? 25 pin chip. So not crazy. It'll still be a fairly substantial little chip. It would have just been nice if they labeled some of this on the silk screen. Maybe I'm just spoiled with the Nintendo DS. Yeah. I don't know where it would be. I don't see it. So I think what I need to do is go around Like, I really feel like it's this chip down here. So let me find out where they connect. The VREG mem IO temp on pin 10. So what I need to do is just go to pin 10 of this chip and start probing around different chips and seeing if I can find it. Because I don't know exactly what pins I need to be looking for. So it's a 10-pin chip. Looks like it goes into a capacitor and then, what, farts into ground? Let me see if that lines up. Put it on this screen instead. So it goes into a via, but still is uninterrupted. So I wonder if that big blob right there is a via. Let me just see if it probes the ground, or the other side of this capacitor probes the ground. And that little solder blob is, yeah, going to ground. That's not an artifact or anything. That was just me soldering something right over here. When I was trying to solder these two resistors, I did it over here because I didn't think there was anything to attach to, and I accidentally deposited some solder onto that. So what I need to do is I need to grab my other needle probe right here and just go across what I think is right down here. I think this is the chip. This has to be it. It's not labeled correctly, but okay, I'm swap positions. Or I could do this a little more like strategically. This might give me a false positive. So what I'm looking for is VREG memio temp. VREG memio temp, which should be on pin 22 of a 25-pin chip. Which could be over here. Instead of counting, I'm just gonna... Well, if it's, if it's... I'll just keep blindly probing. Something should come up. Well, actually, something shouldn't come up. Because I think... Well, the only other option is it has to be shorted. That pin does not have enough chips on it. Or enough pins on it. That chip does not have enough pins on it. That's what I'm trying to say. Let me just look at this chip again. It is a 25-pin chip. That doesn't make any sense because 25 doesn't split into 4 evenly. 6.25 of a pin. curious. So I'm looking for if it's short. It's check for shorts on MEMIO. Related. This is like there's VREG MEMIO. Maybe I'm just looking for shorts to ground. Maybe that's what they're wanting me to look for. So what I can do is just I don't know where U32 is. I have no clue. I mean, unless it's one of the SOCs on like one of the little chips on these daughter board, these like boards. Well, and these ones are labeled. U202. What is the labeling for U32? VREGs, VMEMIO, and VMemphis out. That's U101. U201. So none of those. There's no big chips on here. I'd hope it has nothing to do with those. So, okay. So let me just see what all of my resistance readings are on the... anything that mentions VREG MEMIO. So this would be pin 10 and ground. Oh, I'm on diode. Pin 10 and ground. I get about... show it. I get about 22 kilo ohms and climbing. So I would say that's not a short. So I'm just going to find everything that mentions VMEMIO. Pin 36 is VREG MEMIO physical SOC GPIO1. Or maybe what I should do is just do every pin. This might be a little tedious, but take a resistance reading from every single pin. Pin 1 is about 7 mega ohms. Pin 2 is also 7 mega ohms. Pin 3 is 78 ohms. I just want to see where's ground. Where is it grounding? I would say 7 ohms is pretty close to a short. That's pin 4. Let me try the little via it's connected to. What's pin 4? Yeah, this is a problem. I don't see pin 4. So I need to look through the these schematics again to find where the other part of... It might not be relevant. I mean, I could just move on and just say it's not relevant. So let's just keep going. Pin 5 is 260 ohms. Pin 6 is ground. Do I have anything on pin 6? Anything related to this circuit? No, it could just be normal ground. I mean, I could look at the normal chip. Yes, I can. Pin 4 is VORT N1. Pin 6 is VORT N2. Don't know what that means. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 7, which is this blob right here. Seven is VO Sense 3. 8. Oh, did I miscount? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7. Seven is VO Sense EN. VOEN or VOSEN3. 8 is VORTN3. 9 is okay. 10 is 21. This might be 41. I don't know where this trace is going to underneath the chip. Here's a pin 11. I need to swap leads. This is pin 12. Pin 13. Jumping a little all over place. I don't like touching my tombstones, so let me just touch the pin directly. Eight 3 kilo ohms. 14. 15. I'm not counting the pins anymore because I'm just not good at counting apparently. Pretty much if it shows a non-zero resistance value, I'm just passing over it. I just did this one, but I'm going to do it again. Between looking at my monitor and looking at my voltmeter, it's a lot to keep track of. I need to rotate this so I can get to those pins, or I can see the pins that I'm prodding. Because I can't see them. Now that's what I'm talking about. That's pin 34. Right here, right? Pin 34. PWM1. VREG mem physical PWM. It goes through a 0 ohm resistor. That be it. VMEMIO PWM. Let me keep going. 34 is a clue. So 31, 32, 33, 34. Let me just confirm. It traces around to here. Now, does this register as a short on my multimeter? I mean, I don't know what the expected resistance is on this line. Yeah, and I don't know where my threshold is for the continuity beeps. But I'd say 3 is pretty not much. Let's just keep going. Okay. 35. 36 is also shorting. Let's see what 36 is. VMMIO, physical SOC, GPIO1. So 36, 34 are shorting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No resistance readings. That can't be right. Having a really hard time. Maybe my connection to ground isn't that good. 36, 34, 38. I need to write these down. Pencil, 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 right here. 34, 36, 38. It's odd that they're even numbers every 2. It's a bit suspicious. 39. 40. Okay, let me go on to continuity. Because that will... It's just going to tell me what I already know. So 38 goes down here. 36, which goes right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, which goes right here. So those 3 are shorting. I need to clean up this area a little more. So I need to see why they're shorting to ground. Oh, I need to be very careful with that so I don't accidentally break it. Should probably put UV glue on it. I might do that. I'll do that later just in case. Because that is a 150k ohm resistor. It's just a little creative. So I'm gonna keep working on this. I might have to chat with AI to see kind of what it thinks. This could be normal. I just need to study this a little closer to see where I can find where these lines go if they need to connect to ground. Because 36 is VREG MEMIO physical SOC GPIO1. 38 just sort of terminates. It doesn't go to anywhere. And 34 is VREG mem physical PWNR. And it goes to a 0 ohm resistor. To wherever VREG mem PWM goes. Does it go into 32? VREG PIM W2 out. Number 53. Yeah, and I don't really know this numbering system. Anyway, I'll keep working on it and see what I can find out. I did just about everything I could think of on this board, and well, one quirk that I'll show real quick. One quirk that I found out is I think my power button board is bad. Something's wrong with it. Maybe the connector point itself is bad, but let me kind of show this off. So I have my power board, plug it in, press the button, nothing. However, when I sort of jiggle it in like that, I'll get a chime. So after a little bit of probing, I found that the pin on the bottom right corner and the pin on the top left corner short when the button is pressed. So if I get a pair of tweezers and short them manually, I get the chime every single time. It's not powering up, it's still stuck. So I'm thinking there is something wrong with this. I'm not entirely sure what. I can look into it a little more, or I can just buy a new one, which I think I'm just going to buy the new one. I did try reflowing the connector, but it just doesn't seem to be doing anything. But between all the troubleshooting, I was able to figure out through the logs, through the error message, through that recommended procedure to fix the error message. AI is telling me I should probably just swap this chip out and just see what happens. And I'm in agreement. It's a $5 part. Problem is it's going to take about 4 weeks to get here because AliExpress. So I did all I could, but I just need to wait until I get a new part. So what I can do is put everything back together. And I'm getting thermal putty in one of my other orders for so I'll be able to get this together as well. I'm going to have to remember how this goes back together. I'll have to look up an iFixit guide. It's a bit of a shame, but I at least have a pretty good lead on what to do. It's not... because the signals seem... it's possible that only part of that chip is faulty. It's a low stakes swap to say if it doesn't do anything, I don't lose much. I lose $5. And I mean, it's $5. Let me just bring up the iFixit guide. Just so... well, I'm not going to put screws in the wrong spot. I'll tell you that. I know where those go. Oh, not the switch light. Series S motherboard. I just need to know the orientation of the X clamp. Ideally. Okay, it looks like it goes away from... okay, it goes on like this. Little bummed I couldn't fix it, but I was very much... I very much enjoyed reading all of the error logs and looking at the tools that were developed. It is insane what is just available to use. You don't even get this type of documentation on 2-decade-old consoles. Like the fact that you can just plug a Pico in and just like, yeah, it's all this stuff. Or check this error code, here's how you fix the thing on this error code. Like, and I mean, these are pretty high value consoles, I imagine, but never have I ever seen that. Got a little bit of thermal putty in there. Or not, like, not in the connector, but there's like a little recesses on the side. A little bit of thermal putty got into. Oh, I didn't need to remove the... Okay. So I think it goes back into this metal housing. Something like this. I think I lever it out because it looks like these sort of sit in the front. Yes, okay. I remember there being a little metal piece. I don't know where that ended up. Hopefully somewhere close. This was the old capacitor. I guess I'll throw it away. Its end cap was just completely eaten away. And that's another thing I'm going to buy. I'm going to buy an actual proper resistor to put there. Not just my little cobbled together tree, which would probably do fine in actuality, but I'd rather get it done the right way, not the, no, it'd be kind of okay way. Okay, put that back on. I know I sliced off the welds for it, but... And I think I'm gonna spend a day trying to get my space in order. Oh god. What a nightmare this area is. I need to put together those Wii U's so I can get rid of them. Or not get rid of them, but get the parts away. I feel like it should be close. I'll put this back on. I don't even know if I can. Does it even have any tackiness left to it? I'm gonna replace, I decided I'm gonna replace this board. Here's the fan. There's like a little piece of metal shielding that goes right here. But I guess I can put the fan on. Maybe this is one of these things that will just appear. I remember what it looks like. I might be able to get away with putting this on. I just have to be careful to just hold on to that metal shielding. I wonder if it needs to be I might actually add a little bit of hot glue to it, which might not actually be a good idea. Because it might want to sit off of the board. Well, since I know I don't need to put it back together, I could probably UV glue it, just to make sure it has a really stout connection and it's sitting off the ground. Or sitting off of off the motherboard so it doesn't short against anything. I don't think it will. I think these will keep it up, but I really need to look for that little metal piece. Did I slide it into the pill container? Oh, I maybe did. I'm like, why would I lose something like this? Yeah, this thing. Okay, cool. So let me see. So there's like a curved end to it, and then a straight side. I think it just sort of slides on. It's not like crazy here. Yeah, I think it literally just sits like that. Like, it's nothing too crazy. There are 4 black screws in here. Let me work back. Those are for the X clamp. Okay. Go over. These are T8s, I think. I don't think I ever changed out my bit. Or are they T10s? They're T8s. Okay, I still have a T8 in my... I'm just holding it so it doesn't... motherboard doesn't plop out. Okay, cool. Now I can set it down and put the rest of these in. This has been very interesting to work on. I'm amazed at how simple it is to take apart and work on. Like, it's just almost baffling. Like, even compared to like the Xbox 360, there's hidden clips, there's a warranty sticker you need to cut. The way pieces are sort of fit in there is kind of confusing. Like, there's a bunch of screws on the back, but there's also screws like along the side that you need to take care of. Okay, the fan. So what side am I looking at? I'm doing the fan right now. The two, are these T10s? These are T10s. I was kind of kicking around of buying another housing because this one has broken tabs, but I mean, a housing is 40, 50-ish bucks, and this housing's in otherwise good shape. So I think as long as it works, just a little rough around the edges. Just make sure to put the front panel screws in correctly. Imagine that. I won't put the white screws there. Okay, power supply goes back in. And then that gets cinched down. So let me goober on some UV glue. That should be more than sufficient. Oh, it even kind of like clips on a little bit. I don't know how much heat will interfere with UV glue, but even if it just makes like a cap, like I could almost melt these plastic bits down. That's actually not that bad of an idea. Make my own sort of plastic welds. That might be a little sturdier than it's gonna stink, but I really don't think this is working as well as I was hoping it would. I think all it's doing is just melting it. I was hoping it would kind of mushroom out a little. I can still supplement it with glue just to help it sit up a little. I mean, you know what? That actually did okay. It's not coming off. Huh. Well, I mean, it was a little hasty of me to drill that out, because I'm just so used to power supplies being very purposefully, like, um, they'll do, companies will do a lot to deter you from opening a power supply. And, I mean, drilling out plastic rivets is not unheard of. So, still works. I mean, I have no reason to suspect that the power supply is a problem. And if all it is just a metal shielding, or it's not even like a shielding, it's just a cooling solution for the expansion card. Now I gotta put the butt-ass load of screws into this. These two screws should keep the thing from jiggling around. I don't know how, if the threads are all screwed up. Pun not intended. Because the wrong screw was put into this. And the dude put it together with the front panel screws up here. It's like, what the heck? Unless iFixit's lying, I would trust iFixit over whatever those dude did to this poor console, which, again, my hunch is kind of, yeah, the screw's not going in well at all. My hunch is water damage. How exactly it led to that chip going bad, I don't know. Yeah, this screw post is just weird. Even when I try lining it up, it's wanting to go sideways. Well, cinch it down. Nice and solid. I guess it's lining up. Maybe that's just how it was, because that port's kind of like freely bouncing around because it's just held on by wire. It's really strange. It's not like soldered onto the PCB. But I guess that does add some amount of repairability to it. I mean, you could functionally swap it out for... Well, I mean, this is a pretty standardized power jack. I don't know if you could put a USB-C in it, but that'd be kind of cool. I don't think USB-C kicks out enough power to run a... or to the same degree that it is this other cable. The, like, double barrel connector thing. Oh, that must be a through-hole screw. I'm just following iFixit's screw pattern that they have. All right. All of the front panel connectors now. So there's this one on the side, which is held on by 3 screws. Yeah, it's this one. These are also T8s. So I need to grab my T8. And maybe at the very end I'll try and power it on. Just see what happens. Like, I mean, it's entirely possible that front button connector doesn't really work unless it's screwed in. shield or like grounding against the shielding. That wouldn't be unheard. That wouldn't be like completely unreasonable. There was a ground line that went through one of the pins. That's how I was able to sort of short it on and off. Well, not even on or off. It was just sort of chime. Nothing. There was one point I was able to get the fan to go. I don't know what that was all about. I was only able to get it to spin once, only on 2 occasions. Fluke, maybe, perhaps. Maybe if that chip was the problem, maybe that was just its death throes. Just like, pulse the fan. I really wish I would have been running error logs during that, but can't have everything. That's in. The front button connector is held in by a screw. That's kind of what I'm wondering, if it needs that screw for grounding. It will be interesting to press the power button when I get this thing all together, if anything happens at all. If it boots up, I might piss myself, but I mean, I did everything I could think of. Nothing appears to be wrong per se, so now it's just, well, here's the thing that the error code reports to be trouble. So replace it, see what happens. So, I'm not too big of a fan of throwing parts at a thing. Like, I did that with the PS4, but it was more throw parts at it or reball the APU, which I don't have the means of reballing an APU. You need a very good few $100 plate. I'd rather spend, and I don't think I'm going to be reballing APUs that often. Not enough to justify it, so I'd rather buy more consoles. And if I do get a pile of consoles that need APU work, maybe I can finally justify it. But currently, that's a grand total of 1. Get this out of the way. Alright, I think I can start clipping everything together. Yes. Or at least get this on. I decided... Well, I will wash it. I'm just not right now. There's no point. Not until I can confirm that this is good. Right now it is, no clue. Now... Oh, so that's how it, like, holds on. That's really interesting. Very clever. Very clever, Xbox. Very clever. These are T10s. The T10 green screws. I don't know why that one was, like, poking out. It was this one right here in the middle. I thought the dude forgot to just screw it in. Oh, is this supposed to just bottom out? T8. T10. Hang on. Is that screw post broken? I mean, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised. No? Still there. Wonder why it just bottomed out on me. Let me get it out. And sort of see if I can thread into it. Huh. Seems fine. Weird. Maybe it's just a really, really deep recess. Oh. Or maybe I just didn't line everything up correctly. Oh, there it goes. I must be missing the screw post or something. Oh, I am. My USB isn't even lined up. Not at all. Oh, that wasn't clipped on. That looks a little better. Okay. A little quirky. Now does my green screw line up with its post? Ooh, that was a good skip. Yep. Nice. So I'll put the order in. I'll probably do that after I assess a few Nintendo Wii U's that I got, because I think they need some touchscreens. And AliExpress is the perfect place to get frustrating touchscreens. Ah, yeah, I'll probably have to over-order them. If it's anything like my Switch Lite, I'm not gonna risk spending hours putting the damn thing together only to find out that there's a barely noticeable dead zone in the stupid fucking digitizer. That's gonna piss me off for days. Or it already is. But it will also give me an excuse to try and get all the dust out from underneath it. I'm intending on building an enclosure. I have the desk space set aside for such a thing. I just have to figure out how I'm going to build it. Be a plastic enclosure with PVC and then something to filter in a filtered intake. I could probably get a recycled PC fan and somehow wire it up. But that's a problem for another day. Look at this handsome little console. Very handsome. Now, you're in good hands, Series S. Guess what I'm gonna do? I put the right screws back into the front. The only black screws that exist in this console, and they go on the front. Hello from Seattle. Hello from also nearby. Those just fit in there so much nicer too. They're not bulging out. Yeah, that second black screw just spun in that post. It's just completely stripped. Or that screw post is just completely mangled. So, moment of truth. Oh, okay. Well, the button board works. I think it just needed to be grounded. But yeah, it's just turning on and off. So fixing that resistor seemed to at least do that. Okay, I don't need a button board. Sweet. That was like 15 bucks. I didn't really want to spend. So. Now I just gotta wait for a chip, and hopefully I can get this thing working. I might have to do some research into now that I have my button pressing connection good, but I mean, I think it's still just gonna be the same thing.